So when will it be enough is one of my favorite questions, because I don't know the answer to that question either. But I remember my friend Marilyn, I said, Marilyn, when you sell your business and, you're going to get about $35 million as your piece of it, what are you going to do? She goes, well, I don't know what you mean. I've got my other company and I'm going to keep running that. I said, okay, but when are you going to, exit from working and go do what you really want to do? She goes to me like, when am I going to retire? I said, well, if you want to phrase it that way, I guess it's okay. I don't believe in retirement. I think it's a flawed concept, but okay, when are you going to retire? She goes, well, Bruce, people retire when they're 65. And I said, well, you're 58. She said, yeah. I said, well, why are you going to wait till you're 65? She goes, well, that's what people do. Ladies and gentlemen, that is called a meme, M-E-M-E. It's a belief, and it is viral. Now, many years ago, someone came up with the idea of genetics, even though you couldn't see a gene, you couldn't see DNA. And then the electronic microscope was invented, and then you could see DNA. And they said, well, that guy was right. He seemed like a crackpot at first. But then when they had the microscope and they could see it, it was like undeniable that he was right. And like, oh, okay, maybe he's not a crackpot. So now these guys came out with this idea of memetics, and their idea is that thoughts actually are tangible and they're virus, and they love to get in one person and replicate and be passed from person to person. And there's a whole series of memes. Some of them are healthy and are true and are useful and they serve our highest and best purpose. And some of them are just absolute nonsense. Here's one, for example. I was about 10 years old helping my mother make a salad, and I'm peeling the cucumber and stuff. And I almost picked up the end of the cucumber, and I was about to eat it, and she stopped me. She goes, no, don't ever eat the end of a cucumber. I said, why not? She said, they're poisonous. I said, really? I'd been eating cucumber ends I don't know how many times. I'm pretty worried. I'm 10 years old. I'm thinking I just might die from cucumber poisoning. And then she says, let me show you what to do. She takes the two ends of the cucumber that have been neatly peeled by me. She rubs them together, and then she throws them in the trash. And I said, Mom, why'd you rub the ends of the cucumbers together before you throw them in the trash? She goes, it gets the poison off. I said, well, who's going to eat them after you put them in the trash? She said, I don't know, that's what my mother taught me to do. So I had occasion to see my grandmother a few days later, and I asked her about the poisonous cucumbers. Oh, yeah, ends of cucumbers are poisonous. Inquiring minds want to know. Even at 10, I was a strange bird. So I said to my grandmother, but what about pickles? We eat pickles all the time, and the ends of the cucumbers are on them. I was genuinely concerned I was going to die of cucumber poisoning. It's an example of a meme. It's totally false, but it passes from one generation to the next. You get all kinds of this stuff going on in people's lives. It's crazy. When are you going to stop the insanity? How many things do you believe right now that are absolutely patently false and easily proven to be false? Right now, I'll bet you every single one of us has a whole series of faulty memes, and they're just waiting to get out of us to spread like some kind of a virus to our kids and our grandkids and the neighbors and our nephews and our nieces and anybody who will listen. And the younger they are, the more likely they are to listen and to believe the nonsense. Maybe that's one of the reasons we get to be 50 years old and we don't know who we really want to be, and neither do any of the advisors in our lives. Just a thought.